Welcome to POV, You're My Therapist, the podcast where I vent, you listen, and you do not get paid. I am your host, Divine Philemon, and welcome to another amazing episode. If you're not subscribed to POV Plus, get ready to do that, because that way you get to listen ad-free and you get exclusive content like Text to My Therapist, the weekly pop culture roundup that I post every Wednesday or Thursday. I know. Talking about the current events, the happenings. I really dive deep, okay? So if you are not subscribed, subscribe right now on Apple Plus to get exclusive content and ad-free listening. So on today's episode, I know, like, I've been doing the whole, series thing where I talk about certain things that, they fit into like a certain area, or like, there's a less, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I've been doing series, and series has kind of been my way to kind of to create chapters within the season. But today I kind of want to talk about something that's not in a chapter, and that's just kind of a little bit more fun, because I feel like recently I've kind of been a little bit stringent with myself, where I think about things and I want to talk about them, or I want to post them on TikTok, but I'm like, nobody cares, girl, shut up. But I know that's not the truth, because so many of you listen. And I think sometimes I get so caught up in what I should be and who I should be that I don't do what I want to do. So today I'm going to do something I want to do, which is, because last night I was laying down in bed and I was thinking about this, and I just want to gossip. I want to talk about life. I want to talk about what's been going on in my life, okay? And just overall just talk. I really do. I miss the days where I would come on the podcast and I'd be like, I don't know what we're talking about today. Today's kind of like that, but I know exactly what we're going to talk about. Okay? Y'all, I don't know what it is, if it's because it's getting a little cold. You see, I got like my little fuzzy thing on, but I am in heat. I am like a cat in heat right now. Like, this is not like ovulation feelings. This is like, because, aren't cats in heat for like months or something? That's kind of how I feel. Like, I have been yearning, just fiending for just a crumb of man, just a nibble of man. And you guys know I like me some man. Like, I really do. And because of that, today, I've worn my most conservative outfit to talk about the raunchiest shit, because that's just the kind of mood I am in, bitch. I'm cozy, and I want to talk to y'all about dick. So last night I was laying in bed, and like, I was kind of going through my little black book in my head. And a little black book, if you don't know, the children that were not born, were not coming of age in the 2000s. A little black book is this book that people used to, is a tiny little black book. It had a leather casing, and people used to write all of their phone numbers on it. And that's my cat. It's probably going to come up here. But in the 2000s, there was a movie called Little Black Book, and it was about all of the people that this specific character had slept with. My Moon is making a special appearance, so if you want to see him, hi Moony Poony, come here, buddy. So if you want to see him, you can watch this on YouTube. Moon, say hi. I think this is Moon's first rodeo, but here's Moon. Oh, I accidentally freaking stabbed his little eye. Hi Moon, say hello, Moon. Moony Poony, say hi to the people. He's so cute, you guys. I love him. He's also the other new thing in my life. My little boy. Say hi, Moon. Anyway, so I'm probably gonna, okay, or not. I thought I was just gonna hold him, but maybe not. But anyway, so this movie, this is such a 2000s movie. 2004, Little Black Book. A woman snoops through her boyfriend's Palm Pilot. A Palm Pilot. And if you don't know what a Palm Pilot is, it's basically like a BlackBerry. And if you don't know what a BlackBerry is, it was the it phone before iPhones. Okay. People, when you had a BlackBerry, you were a business bitch. Like, you were a woman of business. You were busy. You had text message. You had internet on your phone if you had a BlackBerry, bitch. My cousin had a BlackBerry, and I remember thinking she was the coolest bitch ever. And I remember in middle school, one of my friends had a BlackBerry, and she thought she was the hottest shit ever. Okay. And you know what? Because of that BlackBerry, she kind of was. So this woman snoops through her boyfriend's Palm Pilot and reveals his former girlfriends, which cause her to question why they're still listed in his little black book. So little black book is basically an address book, particularly one containing the names of past or potential romantic or sexual partners, right? So last night, and this stars Brittany Murphy and this lady who has like a very specific voice. What's her name? I'm on the IMDb right now. So it stars Kathy Bates. Is that her name? It stars Kathy Bates, Brittany Murphy, Ron Livingston, Holly Hunter. That's whose voice I'm thinking about. So, cause Holly Hunter, she has a very tight voice. She, that top lip stays in motion, and she's really just, this is just how it goes, babe. Like, that's her voice. So anyways, last night I was kind of like going in my head about like my little black book and like just thinking about like all of my past partners and kind of ranking them. So that's what we're going to do right now. Because also this came up yesterday, actually not yesterday, but the other day I was on FaceTime with my friend, and she was telling me about this drama that she had. And I've told you guys this drama before, but I actually don't think I've ever told you guys the full story. But I had this friend, this was the friend that asked for the dick pic. So I was telling her that whole story because she had like the friend that she was talking about had the same name. So I was telling her that whole story, and I was telling her how this one guy that we had both dated that she at the moment was caught up over, and like, oh my God, this was limerence like to the T. Like, me and her had limerence over the same guy. And like, you would think that he was a great guy. He was good in bed. He was smart, funny, all of these things. No, I think, oh, my cat just fell upside down. Anyways, you would think like he's this great guy who has like a lot of, like, I don't know, like, who was great in bed, who was charming, who was sexy, who was all of these things. He was none of those things. He was none of those things. And that's how you know women do not choose to be heterosexual, because this boy was not charming. He was not good in bed. He was not funny. He was such an asshole. But we just could not let go of him. The limerence was limmering. And my friend was like, girl, why do you think that happened? And I literally said to her, I think it's because he reminded us of our absentee fathers. I literally think that's what it was. Like, in my head, I was like, if I can get this man to love me, I can get any man to love me. Because, that makes so much sense. So, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, where does he fit? This is Voldemort, by the way. Yeah, this guy is Voldemort. So I was thinking about that, and I'm like, where does he fit in, like, the category of lovers that I've had, like, truthfully and honestly? So that's what the fuck we gonna do, bitch. That's what we finna do today. Because I've been thinking about this, and we're gonna go in order of me losing my virginity. The guy I lost my virginity to, his name was Jay. Okay, that's the name we're giving him. So his name was Jay. Personality, I would rank it. This is I'm in my Keith Lee era, but with lovers. Okay, we're here in Atlanta. Okay, at my college. I almost had the name. At my college, and we're here with Jay. Personality, I'm gonna give it a before he turned into an asshole, because guys do that. They finally get to sleep with you and then they turn into an asshole. Can you stop fucking clawing me? Girl, I need to cut his nails. So before his personality, his real personality came out, should we do the personality that made me sleep with them? I'm going to do that one. Because I feel like that's what, they put on the charm. So it's like, you really got to know which one. So I think we're going to do both. We're here in Atlanta. We're here with Jay, and we got the so sorry. We got the losing virginity, which was 1999, with a side of first situationship with a side of friends with benefits for $2.99. So I would rate his personality before we slept together a 7.5. That's really the number that's coming to mind, is a 7.5, a solid 7.5. He was funny. He was nice to my friends. My friends loved him. And actually, when my friends found out, like, we were talking, they were extremely excited for me. All right. Personality after we got together, I would give it a solid 1. And that's not just me being vindictive. It's because he completely emotionally shut down after we got together. Once we got together, the personality was a 1. Like, he literally could not look me in the eyes. He couldn't talk. It was like, I don't know, girl. Like, he was ashamed of, like, the dirty things we had done. He could not look me in the eyes. He could not look me in the fucking eyes. And you know what? Actually, we're going to give the whole, all together though, I give the whole situation I give it a 6.7, because I give him a 6.7, which I think is quite generous. Actually, no, I'm going to bump it to an 8.7. 8.7, give it an 8.7, because this is why I gave him 2 extra points, because I told you I was a virgin when we got together, and he popped my cherry. He sure did. And I bled everywhere. I did. I sure did. And I was really afraid at that moment, because I was feeling vulnerable, as you can imagine. I was really afraid, and I didn't know how I was going to react. But I could not have wished any better of a reaction. If you had given me a scenario and you told me, hey, you're going to be hooking up with this guy and he's going to pop your cherry, which I thought was gone, by the way, how would you like it to go? That is how I would have liked it to go. So he gets 2 points for that. And so that brings him to a total of an 8.7. So Jay gets an 8.7. Okay. I feel like that's pretty high, but I'm giving him a lot of leeway for that cherry situation. Okay. After Jay came Alan. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Alan. So after Jay came Alan, and Alan, that's so funny because Alan does not fit him as a name, but I'm not going to change it because I don't want to confuse you. So Alan, well, for context, Alan is now married. Okay. He's married to a rockette. So congratulations. Alan was my first 6'5" man. And that really changed a lot for me. It put a lot into perspective for me of how life could be. It changed a lot. And I don't think I could never go back afterwards, because there is just something about a thick man, something about a thick man, just a thick man. And I was talking like THICQUE, thick man. It's like I'm looking at the thigh, and the thigh is the size of a fucking tree trunk. And like, that's, that was really my first literal taste of it. And I just never went back. I could never go back. I knew my life was going to change at that moment. So Alan, personality wise, he was very nice. He was nice. He was super nice. I'm laughing because he didn't really have much of a switch up. I had the switch up, which, this is the thing. When you are, you guys, I did not have proper sex ed. When I was growing up, I did not have proper sex ed. So everything I learned from Tumblr. And Tumblr is not a good resource for kids to learn about sex. It's horrid. It's terrible. The things I learned about Tumblr that I thought were normal, the things I learned about sex through Tumblr that I thought were normal, they were not normal. And I'm really happy, actually, that I did not learn about, like, I did not learn about like the harder stuff through Tumblr because baby, I don't know what my mentality about sex would be like at all. Like yeah, so I learned a lot about sex through Tumblr, and I just don't think that was a good place for that. No. Because there was this expectation that like everybody should be having sex, everybody should, and really, I don't know, I just thought it'd be super easy. I didn't realize that it was something that you had to work on. It was something that required a lot of communication. It was something that required a lot of give and take, and you're not always going to like everything, so you're not weird if you don't like certain things. And I had to come to that decision and understanding on my own in my fucking late 20s, bitch. Like, this is something that I've learned in the past like 5 years. So, because, sex does not come easy for a lot of people. Some people, they never get comfortable with it. They never really lean into it. So some people really have to get comfortable with it. And I was just one of those people. So back to Alan. First Tinder hookup with a side of I am in love with this man with $5 worth of limerence. And the total for that will be $35.99. Oh, plus an STD scare. Plus $5, with the side of that. It comes in a tiny jar, and inside of that jar is a monostat. Alan was really nice. He was a really nice guy. He was really understanding. He kind of understood a lot of my fears, like constantly thinking that every time I touched a man, I would get pregnant. So he was really nice about those fears. I think he could smell the Catholic institution in me. He definitely could smell the aroma of Catholicism and fear and the 7 sacraments and penance in hell. He could smell it on me, and baby, he sniffed it in like a pheromone. Yeah. So he was super understanding when I absolutely just did unhinged things. Like, for example, accused him of giving me an STD, which was actually a yeast infection because I had never, ever, ever had a yeast infection before. And I had a yeast infection right after I hooked up with him. And I knew why I got it. It's because, like, I'm not going to explain that, but it wasn't because of him. It wasn't his fault. But I accused him of giving me an STD. He was very nice about that. I would not have been as nice. He was very nice about it. He was very nice about it. So he blocked me though for a little while after that. He was very nice, like brought the conversation to a conclusion and was like, whatever happens, I'm here for you. Just go get the test. If it shows up anything, just let me know, and then we'll deal with it from there on. And then, I got the test, told him I was negative, and he was like, oh, you're just a crazy bitch, potentially a whore. How many guys are you sleeping with? And then he blocked me. And then he unblocked me. And then we hooked up again a couple months later, and still was really nice then because I left my license there. Of course I did. I forgot my license there. I don't know why. It was even I think it fell out of my wallet, but I forgot my license at his place, and he was very nice about getting it back to me. He was always really nice. Like, he was just always really nice. Like, I don't know. He was a very understanding guy, which whatever. I was in love with him either way. And the thing was, I wasn't in love with him. I was like infatuated by him. Oh my God. I built up his personality so much in my head. Like, he was my object of He was the object of my affection, and I fantasized about him all the time. His personality before hooking up, solid 8.9. After hooking up, 8.9. The sex itself, 9.5. It was great. It was really good. He was just very gifted in so many different ways, and he taught me a lot about myself. So that was great. So altogether, I would say I give him a 8.0, like a perfect 8. The only reason why he doesn't score higher is because he did not date me, and I wanted him. And then, then, oh my God, wait a minute. Nope. An 8 is too high, because I remember, I was the other woman. I totally forgot about that. Wait a second. I completely forgot that I was the other woman. Sorry, the whole time he was cheating on his girlfriend. Wow. I, for 2 seconds, was like, wow, he was really nice, actually. Why did I hate him? And then I remembered that there was a very valid reason why I hated him. And it was because he was cheating on his girlfriend the whole time. The second time we hooked up, I was on his Instagram. And if I'm going to do anything, babe, I'm not only going to look through your Instagram, but I'm going to look through your tags. Because if there's a wife, I need to know. And he had done a really good job of cleaning up his tags. But I remember I stumbled on this picture 5 minutes after it was posted, because I told you I was limmering. I had limerence, a lot of it. So I was constantly thinking about him and constantly lurking on him. And I was lurking one time, and I looked through his tags, and there's a picture where he was tagged in 5 minutes ago. And this was before Instagram got rid of the feature where you could see what people were liking. Yeah, at a time we could see what people were liking on Instagram. It was a very messy time. It was very emotionally destructive as well, because why are you not texting me back, but you liking people's pictures? Bitch, I can see you on Instagram. I remember seeing him like that picture, and then I went to his page and I was like, where's that picture? And then I looked through his tags, and then I found the picture, and then it was a picture of, this was 2 weeks after we hooked up. It was a picture of his girlfriend at the time. She was seated across from him at a white linen table. And I remember thinking, this lady's not very pretty. Who is she? I already knew who she was. And they had moved to New York together. They had literally, the day after I hooked up with him, he moved to Brooklyn with this woman. That all came back to me, and I just so vividly saw the picture just now. It was one of those really cheap Polaroid pictures. But yeah, they moved to New York, and she was so in love with him and all this stuff. Their breakup really broke her. I remember that, because I remember lurking on her during that period of her life. Limerence is crazy. Limerence is a bitch. But yeah, no, we're going to take that 8 back, and we're going to give him a 4. Okay? Yeah, I just remember that happened. So give him a 4. He gets a 4. Okay? So, wow, I really forgot that happened. So after that came Voldemort. Yes, Voldemort, right? We know Voldemort. We know so much about Voldemort. What you don't know about Voldemort is, I don't think I've ever spoken about this, but Voldemort, this is the thing. If I say this, Voldemort will now know that he's Voldemort. Because I've staunchly denied it this entire time. But if I say this one thing, Voldemort is going to know that he's Voldemort. I barely care. I actually had the urge to text him the other night, because I was looking at something that one of the people he works with does, and I really wanted to warn him about it, because from a PR perspective, even though I'm not a PR person, I'm a little media trained. Very media trained. And one of his people had posted something, and I was like, they got to get rid of that. But I didn't text him, because I was like, this man would watch you die in a burning building. He would watch you die in a burning building, and he would not even throw a drop of spit towards the building to put the little bit of fire out. So I was like, he can choke. So, so I didn't text him, and then I was like, let me just delete his number overall. So I did that, which I was kind of surprised I hadn't done before, because it was necessary. It needed to be done. So, Voldemort, he was in my life for way too long. He had a shitty personality. He wasn't even cute. For all of the pain and crying that I went through because of this man, for him not to even be cute is the greatest modern tragedy of all. No period piece could compare to the patheticness that is me crying over this balding man who is not very special, who's not very smart, he's not bright. Anything that I thought was great about him was actually me projecting parts of myself onto him. Because guess what, babe? He doesn't have a fucking personality. He wasn't kind. He wasn't sweet. He had none of the core values that I look for in a person. He was just a reminder of my absentee father. That's all he was. He just reminded me of the father I didn't have and who didn't love me and who did cruel things to spite me. So, of course, I wanted his affection and attention, because if I had it, that means I have broken some kind of karmic cycle. That's not the case, though, now is it? We're actually going to talk about fathers later on in this episode, but it's a 0 for personality, 0 for dick, 0 for everything. 0, big fat 0, 0, 0, 0. And we'll continue to get a big fat 0, 0, 0. And you know, the thing that I want to point out and also add on here is that I gave this man so much grace. And that's what it is I gave him so much grace. And at the time I'd be like, oh, you're making up so much excuses for him. Those excuses were valid excuses. There were sympathy and empathy that I had to give and that I loved giving, because I believe that, you know, you should be kind to everybody. And I gave him a lot of grace that he never once in his life thought about extending me over the smallest, silliest thing. Anything that I did wrong, this man latched onto and just would remind me. Like, I could just, it was just like any little thing I did wrong, it was just, oh, you're so dumb. Like, oh, what are you doing with yourself? Like, you know, but yet here are all of these people, myself included, constantly giving him grace, constantly giving him love that honestly he hasn't earned or deserved, and just making up excuses as to like giving value to his life for him. That's all it was. So yeah, Voldemort, I'm so happy I'm over that man. Like, I think about it all the time, and like the other night I was like, if he called you right now, because as I was doing my roundup, I was going through my, you know, my little black book of sorts, and I was like, if he called you right now and he was like, come over, would you, pussy? Would you go there? Would you go there and drop your drawers for that man? Would you let him touch you? Would you, after everything he's done, would you give him the glory and the gold of your body? Would you? I was like, would you be a hussy for him? The answer was no. And I was very proud of myself. And I meant it. And it was an honest no. And I was like, there is nothing that man could offer me right now that would change anything. I'd be on like some Jay-Z 444 shit where he's like, Beyonce made him move across the world to Paris, but you know, they're rich. So I'm like, I don't know. This is a little dramatic. Like, I would get it if you were middle class, you know, if you were lower middle class, but you're way more than upper middle class. So you moving across the world to Paris to be with your wife, like, that doesn't really, I'm not phased. No, like, you have to do more than that. Like, you have to buy me like Mars or something. He would have to buy me Mars for me to ever like give him a chance. Okay? He'd have to literally buy me the moon. Yeah. He'd have to pull a fucking Despicable Me and buy me the fucking moon. Okay? And even then I'd be like, no, you need like to fucking bring God down to earth. And he needs to tell me directly that I actually can't I'm like making up all these crazy scenarios. I cannot think of a single scenario where I would ever want this man back into my life. There's nothing. Like, no, the funerals happen. He's passed away. He's dead. He's buried. He's gone. He's turned into maggots. A tree has grown from his corpse. There's no more of him. It's over. He's dead. He's so dead to me. He's absolutely dead to me. It's a wrap. Yeah, like talking about, oh, he'd have to buy me the moon. He'd have to, no, nigga, no, none of it. Fuck the moon, ho. Fuck the moon, ho. Fuck the moon, ho. Okay? Fuck the moon, ho. So anyways, after that came the box man. The box man that I send the box to. He's actually from my town. And every time because it's Thanksgiving right now, Christmas, it's all of the holidays. Do you not understand the innate fear that I have every time I have to go to the grocery store? Because I'm just like, what if today's the day that I run into this man? And I'm like, I know his walk. I know his body, 6'5", thick. 6'5", 250 pounds, thick. Okay? Tall, pale, dirty blonde, dark green eyes, thick thighs that you just want to bite into. Okay? And just a nice fat ass. It's like Hassan Piker. I know his backside from anywhere. Yeah. Okay. I would know that ass anywhere, including in line at a Kroger, and a Publix, and a Target, and a Walmart that I frequently visit. So I'm on edge. I feel a lot of fear. Okay. During the holiday seasons, particularly. So I've been keeping an eye out for Selena. All right. So him, girl, that I think was a really good example of just projecting it all onto somebody else. Projecting conversation, projecting personality, projecting wants and needs and desires. Because when I tell you, I do not know that man's personality to this day. I don't know his personality. And to make it worse, he was extremely passive. So while I'm projecting all of these things onto him, he's just like mushy and like no real stance on anything. So it's like, who was he? I don't fucking know, bitch. To this point, I really don't. And to think that I thought that was my soulmate, but you know, this is the shit you learn. This is the shit you grow, that makes you grow and you learn through experience, is realizing that you do not have a fucking clue who somebody was that you were talking to for half a year that you swore to God you were in love with, because the whole time you were just projecting. You don't know that man. You don't know him at all. I hate to tell you. Anyways, we're going to skip to this year though, because to be truthful, I really only remember 2021 men. I don't remember 2022 men. So we're going to skip to 2023. And I was actually thinking about this today because it's funny. I was thinking about this guy that I talked to earlier this year he was so sexy. He was a Yosemite cowboy. You know, I love me a Yosemite cowboy. I love men who look like men, you know. And yes, whatever, was super progressive. What does a man look like? I know what Divine's man looks like. And he is, I already said, is 6'5". How many times? Take a shot every time I say 6'5", 250 pounds thick in this episode. You will be drunk off your ass by the end. He's 6'5", 250 pounds thick. This Yosemite cowboy, however, long brown hair. Basically, very tan skin. Nice lips. Wears like, they look like they're straight out of a Wrangler ad. Love that shit. The jean jacket with like the leather collar and like the jean pants. And the jeans and the boots and the belt and the cowboy hat. Don't get me started. I love the look. Just pull a man out of any Hallmark movie. He's a cowboy. He wrangles horses. He knows how to ride horses. This is like everything I ever want. But the only thing is they be loving guns and I'm just not down. I'm just not jiggy. I'm just like, that's the part that I need to go away. And like the thing is, like, I'm looking for a Yosemite cowboy who 6'5", 250 pounds, thick as fuck, nice tight bum, in jeans, nice jeans, Wrangler jeans, jean jacket with the brown collar, with the brown boots, working man, thick, you know, thick body, nice ass. I already said that. Belt, cowboy hat, brown hair, curly brown hair, progressive, pro-abortion, loves women's rights, Black Lives Matter, free Palestine, all of these things, anti-capitalism, socialist, anti-gun. I'm really looking for that shit in a cowboy, bitch. I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna find it, but I'm like, yeehaw, buddy, we finna find it, okay? Because the thing about me is, I really refuse to, I ain't ever gonna be one of them bitches that pop out with a conservative boyfriend, okay? You know how these girls, who they be hella progressive, but then they pop out with a little boyfriend, and you like, where was he January 6th, okay? That ain't ever gonna be me. You don't ever have to ask that, bitch, okay? You don't ever have to ask that. So anyways, Mr. Yosemite, that's what we're gonna call him. Mr. Yosemite was fucking Mexican, okay? I didn't I didn't mean to say that like that. Like, oh, he was fucking Mexican. No, he was Mexican, and it was fine. Obviously, it's fine because, you know, people of color, power to the people, whatever. This will come into play later after we stop talking, because what I come to find out was, I don't know if he really liked me. I think he really liked me. Like, I think he liked me a lot. But I don't think he liked me for who I was. I think he liked the idea of me. And I know a lot of girls say this. Like, he liked the idea of me because I'm fucking perfect. No, he liked the idea of me because in his eyes, I was super successful. With the podcast, everything, I was just living a life that, like, he kind of was very interested in. And he wanted to, like, keep up, but he couldn't. And the thing is, there wasn't really much to keep up with. So he was projecting certain ideas onto me without ever asking real questions to figure out what was really happening. He was just making a lot of assumptions, okay? And I'm like, unless you're going to ask me some questions for me to answer, I can't debunk these assumptions that you have. So he had a lot of assumptions about me. And so he really acted how he thought he wanted me. What? He really acted how he thought I would have wanted him to. So imagine my surprise when, after we stopped talking, which the reason why we stopped talking is hilarious, by the way. It's not hilarious, actually, it's quite horrible. But after we stopped talking, this motherfucker suddenly is like the most Republican bitch I ever met in my life. When we were talking, he was like, yeah, like, I'm really progressive, blah, blah, blah. Like, we were agreeing with a lot of my political points that are really important to me. A lot of these values. Now, all of a sudden, you don't think women should have abortions. Now, all of a sudden, they're not women, they're females. Now, all of a sudden, they're not females, but bitches. Now, all of a sudden, you Mexican, but you anti-immigrant. Young man, what the fuck is going on? I was extremely confused, and I was like, oh, I'm really kind of happy I didn't ever go nowhere with you. So this is why we stopped talking. We stopped talking because I told him I don't like guns. I don't play with guns. I don't fuck with guns, bitch. I don't fuck with the pew-pews. I don't like that shit. So one time I FaceTime him, and I guess he was hanging out with the boys, having a good time, whatever. He picked up, and all I see is, like, you know that, that video where it was that old song where the girl's like, she playing with the guns, whatever. Girl, I opened it up and it was I'm looking at, like, he's holding like 2 guns, and I'm like, what? Girl, I hung up. I was like, enough. Bye-bye. He was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, like, upset. Stop it. God. He was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. Ow, Moon, knock it off. He was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to upset you, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, you know, because I talked to my cousin. My cousin was like, you should tell him why you feel the way you do. So I'm like, fine. So I call him the next day, which just so happened to be Mother's Day. And I started crying on the phone telling him why I was so against guns, which you guys know. And were the tears necessary? No, because I could have told that story without crying. But I really brought out the waterworks because I was like, if you want to be in my life, you need to understand the intensity of certain things and why I feel the way I feel, and that this shit is not a joke to me at all. So I'm going to make you feel fucking horrible. And it was Mother's Day, and we we finished the call, and he was like, I just don't know how I'm gonna go through the rest of my Mother's Day right now because I've just made you so upset, and that's just gonna be what I think about this whole time. And in my head I was like, good, it's called manipulation and you deserve it, bitch. I told you my boundaries, you broke them, and now we are not gonna be together because you suck. And yeah, we're not together. We just stopped talking because of that. And I was like, you know what? Go play with your little pew-pews. Like, this, I can't do that. Ever. Like, and then I remember, like, later on, I was having a conversation with my friend, and I was like, you know what's really weird? Because he was a white passing Hispanic guy, but I was like, if he was, like, a guy who actually looked very Hispanic, or if he was black, I wouldn't have cared. And, ow. I was like, I wouldn't have cared. And she was like, she said something that was so smart. And I was like, oh my God, you should write a book. You're so intelligent. She was like, the reason why that really affected you and really upset you is because, one, he's white, because he looks white. He's very white. It's giving Argentinian, if you know what I'm saying. She was like, he's very white. So for him to not only disrespect your boundaries, but to do it with something that's so violent, like, it is just a staunch reminder of what the patriarchy really looks like sometimes. And she was like, that's why I don't really, like, you're feeling like weird because you wouldn't have been affected if it was like a black guy or like somebody who actually looked Hispanic. You would not have really cared because you feel safer around those people as opposed to white people. And I was like, wow. It's not even white people, white men. And I was like, wow, you're really smart. You're so smart. You should write a book. Yeah. I was like, my friends are so smart. And she was right. She was really right. And I was like, yeah. There were a couple things on my list of things that I wanted in a partner that I thought were negotiable. And I thought, like, oh, a man who plays with guns. Well, not even plays, but just who uses them, because I live in the South. Everybody and their mother shoots guns. I don't, but most of the people down here do. And it's very difficult to find somebody who doesn't. But one of the things that I would tell myself is, like, there's a difference between a responsible gun owner and an irresponsible gun owner. And I would be willing to be with somebody who was a responsible gun owner. But I realized that even that, I'm just like, no, because baby, I got mental illness. What happens if one of my mental illness get too much? I don't want to have that kind of rage. I don't want that at all. He was like the last person that I really talked to, like, for a long time. Everybody else has just kind of been like, come and go, talk a little, whatever. But it's been so boring. Moan. How would you feel if I just dig my claws into you? It's been so boring because, like, I started talking to this guy recently, and he keeps asking me, like, the most stupid questions. And, like, what's your favorite color? Do you have any siblings? Where did you grow up? Enough with the security questions. Enough. Like, what's next? My mother's maiden name? Like, we're dating. We're supposed to be getting to know each other. Like, this is boring. I get so bored. And I'm like, shut up. Like, this is such a waste of time. Like, I might as well, like, go hang out with one of my girly friends. Like, boring. Boo. I hate it. I think my cat drew blood on my thigh. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So, yeah. So, I don't know what the point of that conversation was, but it was fun to have. And here's a sleepy moon. Okay? So, like always, If you haven't subscribed to POV You're My Therapist on Apple or Spotify, go ahead and do that. And if you haven't, if you're not a POV Plus subscriber, go ahead and do that, because you get to listen to this episode ad free. And you get to get an exclusive episode of Text to My Therapist every week. Yeah. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, my Instagram name is Vinephilo, Vinephilo. And my Twitter is the same, although my Twitter is on private. You can still send a request and I will add you. But yeah, I hope you're having a great week. I hope you are happy. I hope you are feeling loved. I hope you feel appreciated. I hope you feel confident. I hope you feel like you deserve all of the things that you have. I hope you feel like you deserve a great future. You deserve love. You deserve kindness. You deserve so many things. And despite what that evil little stupid voice in your head is telling you, you are a bad bitch. And you are deserving of kindness, love, and just good things all around. So, I love you. Me and Moon say goodnight. It is 2:00 in the morning, and Baby Moon is very, very tired. I don't know why Baby Moon came up here, because motherfucker was asleep when I left his ass downstairs. But who knows why children do the things they do. Either way, I love you so much. Bye. Mwah.